Hey everybody, it's of course Andrew Esquire. It's Legal Mindset, where we teach you to be your own judge. Thanks for joining me today, guys. Sorry for being a little late. Was kind of getting things together and making sure everything's here. Tomorrow I'll be going to Seoul, which was always kind of the plan, but obviously some plans have changed. We'll talk about that a little bit today. But it's really good for you guys to join me here today on a little bit of more somber episode today. Not the normal thing, but something that I wanted to talk about here with you guys today. Now, I thought about what to do. I thought about doing a pre-recorded versus a stream, but frankly, every single time I tried to do or thought about doing a pre-recorded and thought about a script, it kind of just turned into me ranting and yapping. So I figured if I'm going to rant and yap and kind of just go in a giant circle, I might as well do it with you guys live versus doing it on a pre-recorded that just would end up where you couldn't interact with me or anything I had to say or whatnot. And also just wanted to do it live too, to pretty much push everybody to go over and subscribe to Legal Vices over here on YouTube. We're going to try to get him to 100K so that his family can have a YouTube plaque. And I'll say this once, and I'm going to repeat this a lot because I'm going to bring this up a lot. This is something he very, very dearly wanted. And I know we can do it because a lot of the law tubers, Legal Vices being, part of LawTube and myself as well. But, I cultivated a large audience of people that follow me for Disney, people that follow me for VTubing, people that maybe are following me for Johnny Somali, and may not have a lot of crossover with Jeff. We kind of were doing our own thing at the end of our YouTube careers. So my audience doesn't have a lot of crossover with his anymore, which means that's a good thing because that means a lot of you could just go over there and subscribe to him, and that would deeply, deeply help me out. Once again, this is my good friend, Jeff Harrison, Legal Vices. So what I want to do today is kind of talk about who Jeff was to me, kind of who Jeff was before YouTube, before all the craziness. One of the things I liked about him, the things I loved about him, why he was just like my best friend in Korea. And why it took me a day to even, well, actually it's like 2 days now, probably, I don't even know, to respond to this. Obviously I got the news of Jeff passing in the middle of the night. I had been out enjoying my legal vices that night, and I told my friend here, who very much reminds me of Jeff, but like a Thai version. I said, if Jeff was here, he'd be out with us last night. He would have been with us last night, 1,000%. And he would have had a grand old time. He would have had a great time. It would have been fantastic. Just waking up and seeing, I think it was 35 XDMs. I had 6 voicemails. I had multiple text messages. I had people emailing me, and I couldn't process it at first. And I was just like, no, this is not true. And I kept hoping that it was news that maybe he was in the hospital, or that this was something that was not for sure, it was speculation or whatever. But, as time passed and, as I talked to more people and confirmed more things, I realized, no, in fact, it's actually very, very true. And it just took me a day to sit on that and process that. And then, thinking about what I wanted to do. Did I want to record a video? Did I want to go live? I really didn't know, but to be honest, I've always been authentic. I've always been 100% me. I've always given you guys this is me, and even when it's imperfect, even when it's scuffed, even when I'm 15 minutes late, this is me. This is my presentation. This is who I am. So I thought in that spirit, it was best to just talk to you guys live like I always do. And and like Jeff would want me to talk to you guys. He wouldn't want me to change the way I do anything. He never tried to make me change the way I did anything. He never tried to push me to do anything differently, right? And not insofar as saying, oh, you're wrong, you've got to do this. Now, we would talk about ideas, we talk about things on YouTube, but he never had that forceful hand or acted like a know-it-all. He had this way of just, sharing his wisdom without coming off like a condescending douchebag, and that's a skill nowadays. I think that, not enough people have that skill that Jeff had. Yeah. So it's rough. So I'm just going to share some stories with you guys today. A lot of my pictures of Jeff are on my other phone, and that one is dead. I have to find a way to recharge it because the old phone I used to use in Korea, the charger slot doesn't work, so I have to wirelessly charge it to get it to work. And I'll get that up in the next couple days and get some photos up and kind of share them with people on X or on YouTube as well. But for today, I just wanted to share some stories because I want to let you guys know a little bit about how we met, maybe some stories that you haven't heard, and go in a little bit more detail. And then, talk about what made me get him onto YouTube, and us kind of going through that YouTube journey together. And, also one of the big similarities we had and some of the things that we shared together, So I just want to talk about that today. And that's all I'm going to do. And, I'll read your super chats and stuff. And if you've got, things you enjoyed about Jeff or you loved about Jeff, please make sure to share them. And, thank you. Just thank you for being here and thank you for hanging out with me. Even though it's not it's not a fun day. It's not like a lit day where, I'm celebrating something big or something like that. It's just a remembrance, and I know that, Jeff would want a celebration of life. I know that Jeff would want people to be happy. He would want people to celebrate. He would want it to be a send off into Valhalla sort of vibe. Of course, in his spirit, you guys know that I don't do this, and I haven't done this in a long time, but because, Legal Vices and I, we bonded over a lot of things, but, of course, when we're out, we'd be having cigars and we'd be having whiskey. So I pulled out a bottle of whiskey I was gifted, and, I'll be cheersing with you guys here today, especially for this episode. It's not, this is not a habit, not a thing, but for this episode, had to get out a nice glass of whiskey here, neat, so I could do it Vice's style, because, if there's one thing that he taught me, it's just to be yourself, enjoy what you enjoy, and kind of fuck what everybody else says, right? So anyways, cheers, guys. Cheers. Woo! That's spicy. Oh, it's been a while. I haven't had whiskey in a good week now. At least. Maybe 2 weeks. 2 weeks? 2 weeks. 2 weeks since I've had any whiskey. All right. So let me just, I guess I'll read some of these real quick and then I'll get into it. JP, thank you for the 50, brother. Thank you so much. LJ O'Rourke, thank you for the 50 as well. Appreciate you guys, and thank you everybody who supported my channel and supported what I do. Thanks for being here, especially guys, JP and LJ. Thanks for supporting me, no matter what content I do. Both of you guys are great, and you guys have supported me whether I'm covering VTubers, whether I'm covering Johnny Somali, Disney, or whether we're talking about today. That really means a lot to me, and it means a lot to me that you guys are here for me, when things are different. And when I'm covering something that may not be the standard thing that I would normally cover. So thank you very much. Appreciate that. Been there, done that. Said Jeff was a good friend and mentor. I love you, Jeff. Yeah, and to me, he was a mentor as well. I mean, he was a friend, but he also taught me a lot, and I'll talk about that. Burberry says, thank you again for pushing him to YouTube. Yeah, forcing him to do it. Forcing him to do it. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Kay, as a member for 1 month, says Vikings say hi. His laughter. Yeah, it's great. His laugh is amazing. Bologna Bong says, since his first stream, I hope I would get the chance to meet him personally. Left Recatus streams years ago, got to spend more time with him. He was an idol. Yeah. And something that I can say, and I want to say this very clearly, Jeff, when he did something, he did it very, very well. He does it very, very well. And Jeff was better than me. Jeff was better than me at so many things, so many things. He was a better trial streamer than I was. He was way more consistent. He covered a way broader range of court cases. He knew exactly how to get the people going. He knew exactly how to make it entertaining, educational. He also knew how to do the art of the grift, and I say that in a positive, in a good way. In a good way. He just embraced it and he had fun. He had fun with the audience. He had fun with everybody out there, and he did it amazingly. He was a guy who was better at me at maintaining friendships, at being amiable with everyone. In situations, and I'm sure some of you can even know some of them. You've seen some of them publicly, but there's other situations privately as well. Jeff can remain amiable. She can remain friendly with so many people. Whereas in the same situation, I might tell them to fuck off, right? And I admire that about him. I think I learn a lot from him, from being able to do that. And being able to kind of have the wisdom of when to hold yourself back and not get involved, which I think is very wise in many circumstances. And I think that if he stayed around and stuck in it, he would have hit 100,000 in the next month or two. And beyond that, he would have been a big thing 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. I can see Jeff a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, hitting goals like 200 million, it's like 200,000, 500,000, and then 1 million. I can see him doing it. I truly, genuinely can. He had the personality. He had the ability. He was constantly improving. I could see him doing that. Ryobi said, my thoughts and prayers are with your lost legal mindset. I'm sorry to hear for your great friend. May he rest in peace. And comes back to just got the Recatus pattern. No, I'm good. I'm in Asia. That's quite illegal. One Man Band says, even being strangers, we're still friends. We feel your pain, even if not strongly. We mourn with you, my friend. Thank you. And it helps that you guys got to share a slice of him, because to me, obviously I saw different things in person, but they were never inconsistent with the way he is online, right? So obviously we had conversations that'll go to the grave. And, I'm not going to say the things that we talked about in confidence till I die, right? Because he's told me things and said not to tell anybody, and that's going to my grave too. We talked about a lot of stuff, but he did it in a way of a friend, of a genuine friend who listened, who paid attention, who gave frank advice, and no bullshit, which is what I loved about it. No bullshit. Reinhold says, Mike Nolan's legal mindset must be tough. Yeah. So I'll read through and I'll explain a little bit here. Paul Goodyear says, thanks for bringing him to YouTube during the Johnny Depp trial. Yeah, that was the perfect time to bring him in. Perfect time. One Man Band said, Godspeed and good dreams, Jeff. May your final rest be more peaceful than the best of your days among us. I agree. Tiny Gray for 2 said, I'll miss playing games with him and meme copiums. Me too. Those are the hilarious streams. It's Friday streams. Scarlet for 5 says, Mike and Old says, Andrew, my favorite streams from you two where you shoot in the breeze, sending big hugs and prayers, you and Jeff's family. Yeah. And that's just the way it was with us in person, Like Jeff and I, the way we were on stream, just kind of shooting the shit, that was how we were. Some people, and I saw somebody before the chat started, they thought, oh, were you and Jeff? I saw some texts, some tweets between you and Jeff. It looks like you're a little spicy. I'm like, that's just bros busting each other's balls. We were friends like that. And we always had an amiable relationship. And even at times when I might throw a little zinger at him and he'd throw a little zinger at me, we're cool at the end of the day. And I knew where he was coming from. I knew that he's my friend. And I knew that beyond that, I'm going to see him in Seoul and we're going to get a drink. I'm going to see him in Busan, and we're going to go to his favorite cigar shop. I knew about that, and I knew that was going to happen. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. Let me read these two and then I'll continue. CCPT Tech said, I'm sad to hear the news. Rip to a great man. Yes. Thank you. And thank you for being here. From VTubers to this. Thank you. Let's go, Brandon. What's up, brother? Says, how to pry open an old Brandon's wallet with a simple lost Portuguese sailor recipe. Thank you, Brandon. He knew how to do it. He knew how to do it. And I know, Brandon, you were a patron. He was a big patron. You guys were a big patron over there. And cheers to that. Cheers for supporting him. You know, I got to admit, I dropped the drinking streams for a very intentional reason. And y'all kind of know that. But I never told him to stop. I never said, hey, you got to stop this. And he understood why I did it, never gave me shit about it. And he understood why, and I understood why he was doing them. And I never asked him to stop or do anything else. And it's all good, you know? We never told each other how to do things. And a lot of content creators, it's a weird relationship. And I can say this, a lot of content creators, even though they may collaborate, they're not friends, okay? So most people that you might see, they'll do a video together or a collaboration or they'll come on each other's videos. They're not friends. They're not. And Jeff was not Legal Vices to me. He was Jeff. He began as Jeff. He was just my friend Jeff. That's why I made the thumbnail that way. That's why I made the title that way. And I'm not undermining anything he did as Legal Vices. In fact, I'm so happy he shared that with you guys. But he was a friend first, before he became any sort of a content creator, before he did all the amazing things he did, all the amazing trials he did, right? He was just my friend. He was just a guy who I wanted to hang out with. So I guess it's like important to give a little backstory here, about Jeff, and I'll pull up his, just so you guys see and make sure you have his channel here. I'll pull it up to the side so you guys can see it as I talk. Let's pull it like news version. Yeah, there you go. So, and once again, guys, I truly believe we can get to 100K subs. So if you guys come over and subscribe, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Please subscribe, because I know we can get there, right? And I know that we can do this for Jeff. We can do this for Jeff. So I'll be kind of refreshing this throughout the day and kind of making sure that you guys stay tuned here and get that. So let me start with like how I met Jeff, right? Because I think we've talked about it, but never really got to go into detail. Jeff thought I was full of shit. You guys know that? Did you guys know that in the chat? Did you guys know that the first interaction between me and Jeff was Jeff calling me out? Was anybody aware of that? So, he saw me covering Kyle Rittenhouse. He saw me covering the Kyle Rittenhouse case. He saw my clip, my viral clip. That's it. It's over. And then he saw that I said I was a lawyer in Korea. So he's like, wait a second, motherfucker. And he's told me the story multiple times. He says, wait a second, motherfucker. I know all the lawyers in Korea, and you are not a lawyer in Korea. And so he messaged me because he was actually trying to expose me, because he's like, you are a fucking fraud. You're not a real lawyer. You're not even in Korea. You're pretending to be in Korea because Squid Games is cool right now. Like he really thought I was full of shit. So I messaged him back and I'm like, no, I'm a lawyer, but I'm not practicing here, because Jeff, guys, has been in Korea since 1988. 1988. I was 2 years old when Jeff came to Korea, okay? He's seen a whole different Korea, a Korea that underwent a massive economic transformation, a Korea that went from, essentially being no more than a barracks, right, to being a fully developed, first world nation, up there, first class, tip top. I mean, it was a very different world, pre-cell phones, pre all that bullshit. He saw all of that. He's seen entire areas transform, cities build. He's seen things change night and day in Korea. And to think about the world that man has lived through, like, and the things he's seen, the different presidents he's seen, right? We talk about martial law. Like, he remembers, right, back when the original, now I don't know whether he was here or not for it, but he was there with near the generation where that was a very recent reminder of what was going on, right? For those generations when he first came there. He had been there a very, very, very long time. And you get to know people. And one thing I found out about Jeff is just he knew everybody. Like, everybody who's an expat who mattered. And I'm going to be a little bit of a dick, and Jeff would approve of this, right? But everyone who wasn't just an English teacher or a enlisted military person who was going to rotate through. You see, the problem is if you are an expat, and Jeff actually kind of mentioned this to me, and we've had this conversation many, many times. The problem is if you're an expat who's not an English teacher or a member of the enlisted military who's going to rotate, right? You have very few friends. People in the embassy rotate as well. See, the embassy, I'll throw the embassy in there. So let's say you make a friend and they're an English teacher. They're going to move. They're going to leave. They're going to go away. If you make a friend who's in the military, they're enlisted. They're going to rotate out. Make a friend in the embassy. They're going to rotate out. It's very difficult to keep friends here long term. And it's even rarer to meet somebody who's also a lawyer. And most of them work in Seoul for very, very douchey law firms and are complete assholes, right? And so when he found me, when we kind of found each other, it was like a very unique thing. But he didn't believe me. He thought I was full of shit. But of course I told him, no, I'm working remotely, right? I'm in-house counsel. I'm working remotely, right? Here's what I'm doing. And I'm trying to get this YouTube thing spun up. I'm trying to make this YouTube thing work, right? And, we plan to meet up. And I believe the first time we met up was in Itaewon. Was the first time we met up. And we had a hell of a time. Now, Itaewon, if you don't know, has been gentrified. It's being gentrified. It's a district in Seoul where the base, the Yongsan garrison, used to kind of be serviced by this area. And that was always a foreigner area, but it was near this base that has now been relocated to another city, Pyeongtaek, which is further away, and the land is being gifted back to the Korea. So when I arrived was during the winding down phase. Now, there were still some soldiers at Yongsan, but not very many. And this was during the COVID period. So you also had MPs that were patrolling, seeing if people were out, skipping the COVID regulations. But Jeff and I were out there breaking some regulations ourselves, breaking some regulations, maybe not wearing masks when we should have been wearing masks, but, the bad boys we were. And we hit it off instantly. We had an instant, it was an instant just lightning in a bottle. And the coolest thing was about Jeff is this guy could go anywhere. We could go from somewhere really fancy. I don't know. I think you guys saw the kind of thumbnail for today, and how he was kind of more dressed up here. He would show up a lot of times, he would say, well, I got to dress up because you're always so fancy. So he would always try to dress up whenever he went out with me. So this is actually, this is at a beer place, but we actually went to a really nice bar. This is in Busan. This is actually later, but this is in Busan. And this is after he became a YouTuber. But he actually wore the same outfit the first weekend we met, because we went to Itaewon and then we went to one of the nicest places in Seoul. We went to the Four Seasons in Charles H. And of course, he knew the bartender, right? And this was a fun thing about Legal Vices, about Jeff, my friend, is that he would always know the bartenders. So wherever we went, Legal Vices knew the bartenders. He may have even dated some of the bartenders. It was a very awesome thing knowing Jeff. And he was just the coolest fucking cat. And everybody knew him. Everyone respected him so much, but he was so humble. He would play it down. And, you know, one of the things that I can say is, like, for example, you know, Jeff speaks fluent Korean and he writes fluent Korean. He's totally fluent in Korean. But one of the things that Jeff hated was to be told that he's good in Korean, or, oh my God, your Korean's so good, because he hears it like a million times a day. But it's true. And he just is that skilled, you know, and was that skilled. And yeah, it was just great to go to these bars and everyone would be like, hey, cheers, Jeff. And I'll take one for that. And everybody would know who he was. Some of them would say, hey, long time no see. But these are people you know over decades. And one thing that was inspiring to me, you know, when I left the US, I intended to become an expat. And I know people can say whatever they want to say, but there's a difference between a tourist and an expat. A tourist is someone who visits somewhere and goes home. My intention was never to go home. My intention was to stay somewhere for life. But if you've ever watched the movie Lost in Translation, that's a glimpse of like tourism, you know, but you do get a little bit of a feeling of the strangeness of it, right? And that's Japan, right? But it's like you're living in a world that's so strange and so other. It's so different from the way you do things, not only just in the language, but just in how things get done, in cultural assumptions, the food, just the mannerisms. Everything is so different and so alien. And it's awesome. It's amazing. To me, that's exciting, but it can be very isolating. And to me, Jeff was the first person that I met that made me feel like I wasn't alone. And that, like, just saying that, like, really hits me, you know? It really does hit me. Because, you know, as an expat, like, you feel really alone sometimes. And that's a normal feeling, right? It's not weird. It's just normal. Because you're wondering whether you're crazy. You're wondering whether you're a person that's going insane. You're wondering about whether the things you're thinking are correct or not correct, or if, you know, when somebody does something and it makes you mad or angry or annoyed or whatever, if that should make you annoyed or not. And an amazing thing is to meet someone like Jeff, who could tell you, no, that's normal. And we could have those sessions of sitting down and talking about shit and being like, yeah, it's frustrating as hell that this happens. Like, I can't believe that Korea is so procedural that every time I go to the bank, they want to see X, Y, and Z, or they have a new form, or I have to do X, Y, Z. It makes no sense. And to have someone say, yep, I know it, and that's frustrating as hell. And I'm like, because he's done it. He's been through it. Or to talk about the pains of dealing with visas, the pains of dealing with renewing your visa, changing your visa, all that bullshit, the paperwork, the administratum. You know, you've got a person to talk to about it. And Jeff was my, like, only expat real friend. Now, I don't want to throw Scott under the bus. Scott, I love you so much, Scott. But Scott is my friend in the military. I love Scott. I met him afterwards. Okay. I love you, Scott. He lives in Korea as well. He also spent some time in Turkey, but it's a little bit different life as a non-military person. He's a military guy. And in the military, you have a network, you have guys, you have people, you've got a team, you've got this and that, versus when you're here, especially in my position where I'm working from home, I don't meet anybody unless I want to meet them. And Jeff was one of the few people I wanted to meet. I didn't want to go to an English teacher bar and talk to a bunch of English teachers. And that's nothing wrong with being an English teacher. It's just I felt like the things I was facing, the challenges I was facing, weren't analogous. So if I told them hey man, it's so difficult, like, getting work done in the evening when everybody wants to hang out in the evening, right? But I need to work then. And an English teacher might say, well, like, why do you need to work then? You should be off. And I'm like, no, well, I work and do YouTube, and sometimes I need to work in the evening because there's trials, and trials last all night. And they just look at me with a blank stare because they don't get it. Right? Versus Jeff, who literally would be like, yeah, man, I'm sleeping in my car so I can stream Amber Heard. Right? That was Jeff. Jeff had that level of dedication, and we could empathize on that. We could get together on that and be like, yeah, this is rough. Yeah, I can't do 6 days of a boring trial back to back. I'm sorry, I can't do it. We could talk about that. And that's YouTube stuff, but even beyond that, just like life stuff, dating Korean women. Oh man. I'll say this: I don't make much of my personal life, and I'm going to be. I don't for a lot of reasons, which I think are self-evident. I don't reveal a lot of my personal life, but for a while, I had a girlfriend in Korea, and there were only 3 people that met her, and one of which was Jeff. The other one is actually in this photo with me, and that's good old Josh Meme Copium, and. Guys, I am so glad. Let me just say something real quick. I am so glad I got this to happen, because for years, this man, Josh, who's my great friend, and Jeff, who are friends, and they've been on stream together, but they hadn't met in person. And Josh hadn't left Japan in like years. He hadn't been out of Japan in like 7 years. He's like a Japanophile. And I said, dude, you just come to Korea. It's not far. You can take a boat. Like, it's content, right? Come. And he came. And I'm so glad he did. And I'm so glad he got to meet Jeff. I'm so glad. And this is at his favorite cigar bar. So I guess I can sort of talk about, going down to Busan. Because Busan is where Jeff is from, or Jeff lived, right? He lived in Busan. He's from Utah, obviously, but I mean, he lived in Busan. He didn't live in Seoul like I did, or I also lived in Daegu for a while. When I lived in Daegu, I was visiting a little bit more. But when I was in Seoul, I took the train to Busan, of course, and I went to visit him a good amount. And Jeff opened up his life to me. I mean, he showed me places that he loved. And to be honest, guys, like, and I'll just be honest with you guys, I don't always do that, because a lot of times when people visit me, and let's say they come to me and they visit me in Bangkok, or they visit me even in Seoul, I may not want to show them my favorite place, because I may want to keep that favorite place for me, because I'm selfish. I'm a selfish bastard, and I want to keep that for myself. But Jeff isn't like that. Jeff would just share these places with everybody. He shared them with Josh and I, with other people he knew. He would just bring them to his favorite places, his favorite place to eat, his favorite place to go. And the people that knew Jeff loved him. When I'd say it, they loved him. And he was just cool as a fucking cucumber with everybody. And just nobody had a problem with Jeff. Now, if Jeff didn't like somebody, and mind you, by the way, Jeff, there's people that Jeff didn't like. You probably don't know that Jeff didn't like you. He told me, and he's told me a lot of let me say this. He's told me a lot of people he doesn't like, including like content creators and stuff he doesn't like. They will never know. I'm taking that to my grave, right? I'm taking that to my grave. You would never know that Jeff didn't like you. Because he didn't care. He just did his own thing, And if you bothered Jeff, he just did his own thing. He was happy. And to me, the point of life is to have that happiness, right? To not let people that may bug you, whatever, just bother you, just to be happy, be yourself, do your own thing. It's so awesome to just, be content like that, right? Just be content like that. And it's something that I looked at and I was like, yeah, I want to be like that. In Thailand, they sabai might be the right word, right? But just to be super chill with everyone. And I'll get your chats in a second, but just to say that when I went to Busan, I had an amazing time with him. And I will be going to Busan this weekend. So it's a little bit, I was going to say it's at the end, but I'm going to say this twice. I guess I'll say it now and I'll say it later. There's 2,000 people here watching me rant like a crazy person. Johnny Somali was supposed to have a trial on the 20th. I was going to see Jeff tomorrow. I'm flying from Bangkok to Seoul tomorrow, and I was going to meet with Jeff tomorrow, and we were going to go out. We were going to have some fun, and we were going to, have some drinks, have some whiskey, like I'm doing right now with you guys. It's going to be with Jeff, and cheers. And we were going to go out on the 20th as well. He was going to come to the trial. He was going to come to the trial of Johnny Somali. Now, that trial was moved to March 7th, and he knew that. I informed him of that. So he knew the trial was moved. He was still going to try to come to even at the move trial. But he didn't want to get involved because, of course, he worked for a actual law firm, a Korean law firm, and they could be hit with defamation if he said anything bad about, he wanted to be very clear. He didn't want to take a risk for his company to be tagged with it, even if he could defeat it, even if it was bullshit. He didn't want to touch the topic, which is fine, but he could still show up and watch the case. There's nothing wrong with that, nothing illegal with that, no problem with that. So I figured instead of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to Busan. I want to say hi to his friends that I know down there. I want to stop by the places he loved, and I want to, just make sure I tell them how much I love Jeff. Sorry, that's a hard one for me, but and how amazing he was. Sorry guys, even for me, this is tough, and there's a reason why it took 2 days to do this. So that's what I want to do for him, because I would have spent the week with him anyways, I would have spent the weekend with him anyways. So, that's what I want to do this weekend, and I told my, I told my friends, I said, listen, we got to reschedule XYZ, because I'm going to go do this. I'm going to probably head down Friday, stay Friday night, a little bit of Saturday, and then I'll come back Saturday night, or, if I really get in the, in the wind of it, Sunday morning, but, sometime Saturday or Sunday I'll come back. But just wanted to spend, 24 hours up there, just knocking on doors and telling everybody how awesome Jeff was, because he deserves that. He deserves that. Yeah. And in case you guys didn't know, his favorite cigar bar is this place called Casa Habano. I want to talk about that real quick. So, obviously, it's kind of a plug, I guess. If you're ever there, you should go to Casa Habano in Busan, right over here. And if you guys want to just leave a comment, they actually had a post right here, saying, yesterday, I'll read this to you guys. Here's Jeff. He's in almost every single post of theirs, right? This is his favorite place in the universe. His kind of favorite place. Yesterday, December 15th, we lost our dear friend Jeff Harrison to a heart attack. Jeff was a beloved figure at Casa Habano and amongst friends, known for his sharp mind, vibrant personality, his passion as a true cigar aficionado. He was a dearest friend of Mike Conforme before Mike's own passing from the same cardiac arrest. I'm certain Mike will be there for you, Jeff, welcoming with open arms as you begin your next journey. This Christmas won't be the same without you. Your absence leaves a void that cannot be filled, but your spirit lives on in stories, laughters, memories you've given us. Here's you, Jeff, gone too soon, but not forgotten. Rest well, my friend. And this was literally Jeff's favorite place. So, Jeff, if you look at the photos here, Jeff is in almost all of them. I mean, he's easy to spot because of his goddamn hat. Oh, because of his goddamn hat. But, you can see him in almost all the photos here. He's always front and center, or his shiny ass head here by the LCT tower, right? I mean, he's always there. He is right there. I don't know. Where's Jeff? Can you guys spot him in this photo? Oh, man. Oh man. And look at it. Look right here. Even Jeff. Look, this is Jeff's comment. Look, I literally said it. I didn't even read this. This is Jeff's comment. Jeff in Korea, because I'm so difficult to spot. That's so funny. That's so good. Great minds think alike, right? You know, Jeff, that's his chair. So Jeff always sat in the same chair. Pretty much every single time he showed up. And yeah, he was always there. Favorite place. So I want to go down. I want to buy as many cigars as I can, a bottle of whiskey maybe if I can. And yeah, I did put up a Ko-Fi. If you guys want me to buy some cigars on you, you got in honor of Jeff. You know, you want to fund the cigar fund. That's over in the Ko-Fi. I'll smoke a couple, and then I plan to hand them out to friends of Jeff who work at who are at like different restaurants and bars he liked. I want to give him the cigars and basically like, hey, this is from Jeff, you know, like this is like from Jeff. And I also want to support his favorite cigar bar and just kind of buy some stuff from him and, you know, make sure they know that Jeff is appreciated. You know, whenever I'm down there, I'll stop by, but you know, I just wanted to do it this weekend because I want to let him know that, you know, that's appreciated. And, you know, this guy who ran this place, that was Jeff's best friend. And that tells you what type of person Jeff was. You know, you see how Jeff is in all these photos, right? That's because the guy who passed away there was Jeff's best friend, you know? And so he went there supporting his best friend, right? And supporting his best friend's dream. This was his best friend's like dream place, right? And it's kind of like a getaway, right? That his wife still runs, right? Even after he's gone. So it was kind of like Jeff was helping carry that on. And, you know, I'd like to kind of just throw back in that a little bit, you know, for Jeff. So yeah, it's Casa Habano with a B, but yes, that's like the Spanish way to say Havana, right? Habano, right? Really love cigars, obviously. But he just got along wherever. I mean, wherever he would go, people would intrinsically love him. And any of the bars that we went into, or any of the restaurants we went into, they just always appreciated Jeff. So that was kind of how we met and got along. And, you know, he gave me so much wisdom. And, you know, being there, I felt like I wasn't alone. And I can't tell you how important that is, guys. I've done a lot of things to make sure I didn't go back to the U.S. And that's not because I can't or I'm barred or something. That's crazy talk. It's because I know that being an expat makes me happy. I know that being in a different country is my life dream, right? When I was a kid and I would travel, I always wondered, why the hell did I have to get on the plane and go back home? That was literally every single time. I'm like, I don't want to get back. I don't want to go home. I'm like, I want to stay. Let me just stay, right? And I felt that's in my blood. I have a lot of family everywhere else, but you know, there's points at which you can think, okay, this is too tough. I could give up. And having a guy like Jeff and seeing his success, seeing him fluent in Korean, seeing him beloved by people here, it gives me hope. You know, if I can be half as beloved as Jeff is, a quarter as beloved as Jeff is in a country or in a place, I fucking made it, right? If I am a fraction as well liked as Jeff, I'm doing a good job. You know, I'm doing a damn good job. So I saw that, but beyond that, I saw this personality and I saw this funny, like this hilarious, dry, funny personality, but like his delivery would just kill you. He could deliver something and it would just destroy you out of nowhere. It's so observant. And I said to him, you know, we're at a bar, Min's bar, on what used to be known as Hooker Hill. In Itaewon. And of course, yes, Jeff loved his dives in the seediest joints out there. He loved both. Jeff loved both the nice places and the seedy places. He loved both, which is a man after my own heart because I enjoy a range, right? And we're in this bar, Min's bar, And I told him, you need to get on YouTube. You need to get on YouTube. And he was like, no, it sounds like a lot of work. It sounds like this and that. How would I even do this? I don't want to deal with that. It sounds like a lot of problems. And you know, to be honest, he wasn't buying it. And it took me a couple of months of working on him until we were in the same bar months later. And I was like, Jeff, I will give you a fucking microphone. I will give you a camera. What do you need? And he's like, no. Just tell me what you have. I'll give it a shot. And he's like, how much is this going to cost me? I'm like, dude, you can do it under $1,000. Right. And of course, I gave him a budget setup, but he went for the expensive setup. He went for the premium, which is so Jeff. He wouldn't do the well whiskey. He went for the Glenmorangie, right? He went for the Lagavulin. He wouldn't do the well. Here's the Jeff, never doing the well. So I told him the setup. He got the exact same camera as me, a Sony a6400, which I still use because I'm a cheap motherfucker. And by the way, he upgraded his camera. I haven't even upgraded my camera. You guys are getting my poverty. I'm still using my Sony. I'm dealing with my poverty over here for years. So he got my setup and he started. And I got him introduced to everybody. I got him on the circuit. Yes, I got him on Ricada. And yes, that did matter at that time. And he took off overall. I mean, my subs were his subs in the beginning. We had a huge crossover audience and he took off. Immediately, he had people who loved him. He got the name Lorax when he was on my stream and people kind of thought he looked like the Law Lorax, right? Although a lot of people over here in real life thought he looked like Santa a little bit, but I'm like, well, if he's Santa, then he's like bad Santa. Okay. Then he's like bad Santa. But you know, he definitely, he definitely was somebody that was distinctive, right? People would remember Jeff. Whether it was the hat or the personality or whatever else, people remember Jeff. They always remember Jeff. They never forgot him. And I knew that as soon as he got online, he was going to have his own audiences doing his own thing. And he absolutely did. And at first we were doing a lot of the same stuff, but eventually I decided I fucking hate trial streaming and I don't want to do it. I prefer news. I prefer breaking stuff. I prefer stuff that's really high interest, right? Stuff that's kind of now. And Jeff, and that's a little bit chaotic. It requires me to, do a lot of, searching, a lot of research, a lot of, chaos, but I enjoy it. I thrive in the chaos, right? Jeff enjoyed more of the trials. He enjoyed a lot of having the schedule, everything else. And we started to diverge, right? Jeff and I had a lot of the same friends at first, and he got different friends, right? And slowly over time, when we used to be streaming together all the time, we kind of stopped. And that wasn't because I didn't like what he was doing or whatever else, or I disapproved of it, or I was angry with him, or I wasn't his friend. That's just because he had one path for his channel, and I had another path, a path that led down the Disney road, down the VTubing rabbit hole. God help my soul, my cursed soul. And then down the Johnny Somali IRL streaming rabbit hole. And, the best thing in a person that is a real friend is a guy like Jeff. Because even when we've been distant, even then when we haven't streamed in a long time, as soon as I came, and by the way, I left Korea. Okay. So a lot of people get this wrong. I was in Seoul. I was in South Korea, in Daegu, and then in Seoul. I was there for 3 years, almost 3.5 years, full time, living almost the entire year there. And then I came to Thailand, and I've spent a little bit more time, especially last year in Thailand, because I've been setting up my businesses, my second business, my Go East business, and building kind of a network here, because my goal was always to have kind of two locations and bounce from one to another when the weather permitted. So obviously the weather is amazing in Korea in the spring and fall. In Thailand, it's really great here in the winter. The summer kind of sucks everywhere, but it's less bad here. So that's that's kind of the winter there. But I kind of always wanted to do this. This was my goal. This was my objective. This is what I wanted to do. So I said, okay, I'm going to spend more time down here. And I know that, look, Jeff was a little bit sad when I left full time in Korea, because we hung out a lot, and we hung out a lot less last year. A lot less. But the thing he's a real friend, and how he's a real friend, is because as soon as we met, it was like no time passed at all. And I think that's how you know a real friend. I think you know a real friend who doesn't make you feel guilty, doesn't make you feel horrible. It's just your fucking bro, when all you need is a bro, I've got enough people to talk fucking YouTube with, and I love you guys. I love you guys. I love you guys. I've got enough people to talk content. I've got enough people to talk how to do a thumbnail and how to do all that shit. Sometimes you just need a bro. And Jeff was my bro, We just talked. And yes, we would talk about YouTube, okay? Yes, of course. It's part of both of our lives. But we just talked about other shit too. I mean, we talked about Irish whiskey. We talked about crazy motorcycle adventures that he went on when he was younger. We talked about beating the shit out of dumbass foreigners. Back in the day, before there was CCTV, I'll have you know, Jeff Harrison put an ass whooping on more than one ignorant ass foreigner back in his day. And of course, now that the statute of limitations is well since passed, I could say that, right? I mean, Jeff Harrison, kept some fucking people in line. Let me just tell you right now. And God bless his soul. In fact, I got a refill on this, right? But cheers to Jeff putting some dumbass foreigners in line. By the way, foreigners in Korean is Waegugin, right? Waegugin. So cheers to smashing some Waegugin, Jeff. Cheers. He could throw hands. In case you didn't know, he may not look like it, but he actually was top ranked in martial arts in his days. He was actually I would not want to fuck with Jeff. Jeff is quiet, but he could definitely throw hands if he needed to, for sure. So it's just so rare to find somebody like that. But anyways, we did diverge and we did go down different paths, right? But the real fucking friends are the friends who don't leave you behind. When you leave a job, and this is a red pill, and I'm sorry to be this way, and it is what it is. Maybe it's a little too based, you can call mom, but most of your friends that you think are your friends aren't your actual friends, okay? When the second you leave your job, for example, all your job friends suddenly disappear. They stop calling you. They stop messaging you. They stop hanging out with you. Why? Because you're not working there anymore. To me, that's not a real friend. A real friend is somebody that is still cool with you, that is still down to hang out. Jeff went out of his way. He would ask me, and I was the bad friend. I was the one who would be really late to tell him my schedule because I'm a fucking chaotic motherfucker. I would be late to tell him my schedule. I would scuff it like a stream. I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm going to be in Seoul a day from now. And he would make it. Jeff was that type of friend. I tell him Thursday, oh, I'm going to be there Friday. And he's like, dude, I'm going to come up. Or I'm like, oh, can I come down? And he's like, yeah, dude, I got you. I'm going to make a reservation at a restaurant that we both love that I'm going to go to and hang out in his honor, right? That's Jeff. That's a fucking friend. That's a real friend. It's not a bullshit friend, It's not somebody that liked me just because I was a YouTube star. He knew me before that. And by the way, back then I wasn't even that fucking big. I was a little fucking shit. And I'm still a little fucking shit in the YouTube world, right? Right? That's a real bro. That's a real bro. And That's the type of friends that I want. I don't want a friend that's shittier than Jeff, to be honest. Like, change my level of friend, right? Sorry, guys. But it reset my level for like what to expect from other people. And to say, look, I'm not going to expect something shittier than that. I'm going to expect somebody who's on that level. And I did the same for him, by the way. I would come down there as well, right? Even though I was more horrible at planning than he was much more organized than I am. But yeah. It's hard. It's fucking hard. Somebody in the chat says virtually impossible to find real friends. Yeah, it's fucking difficult. That's why this fucks me up a lot, guys. That's why this is hard. That's why it took 2 days for me to get this out. I know everybody else got I know everybody else got this shit out like in 2 hours or 1 hour or like the same night, but like this wasn't something I could sum up like in a day, you know? This is my like deep friend. So it wasn't something I could just run out there and be like, hot take, you know? And yes, I don't negate any of the other people. They're all great. But I'm just saying, like, that's why it took me some time, you know? I love them all. They're all great. And by the way, Jeff loved them all. And they felt that from him, right? Even if he was annoyed by them. Even if he maybe didn't like them so much, he still made them feel like they're liked. And I think that's so important. Okay, I'm going to read some of these chats and then I'll continue. But Trucker Rob said, hey, Andrew, sorry to hear about your loss. Seemed like a great guy. He was. He absolutely 100% was. Bella Stella said for 10, so devastating. Jeff will miss greatly. He was a wonderful person, a friend of many. And I'm glad that he was a friend to you guys too. You know, I'm sad he's gone, but I'm so fucking happy he got to share that with you guys. I'm so fucking happy he got to share that with you guys. Because unless he got on YouTube, like now there's tens of thousands, potentially 100,000 people that know how awesome Jeff Harrison was. How fucking awesome is that? And how awesome for his son to know that his dad was beloved by 100,000 people. That's fucking awesome. That's great. It's just so amazing. KDP said, hugs to you, Legal Minds. Said, it's so nice to hear these stories, and you're totally right. Most people leave after a few years, you'll be missed. Katie from up north, as he used to say. Yeah, hey, Katie. And by the way, I know some people are teachers. It's not demeaning at all to teachers. Look, I got my TEFL certificate, so I could teach if I wanted to when I was over here, just in case. So I never wanted to be unemployed or on the street. So I said, oh, you know what? I'm not going back. If I need to, I'll fucking teach English. I'll do it. But I don't want to do it. But I have it just in case because I don't want to go back, right? Because I committed to this path. I said, I am going to be an expat. I'm going to live this life, right? And seeing Jeff successful made me want to live this life more. And with his passing, I feel like I know this is a little bit narcissistic maybe and whatever, fuck it. Jeff would approve of it, but I feel like, in a way, like the mantle is kind of passed, right? It's like I can aspire to be the person that Jeff was, And that's a cool thing. That's a really cool thing. Sailor Moon says, for 10, we love you, Andrew. Sorry for your loss. Thanks. Yeah. I mean, you guys know me. This is like definitely not my normal personality. So like, obviously it's rough. It's rough. Let me see. For 20, Bald Eagle 1787 says, you may be a little YouTube shit, but that's how YouTube should be. A bunch of small communities that each do their own thing. This hits hard because I've also lost someone like Jeff, and I was a terrible friend, and I regret it. Yeah. I wasn't a terrible friend. Okay. Let's calm down. Okay. Let's calm down here, guys. I was not a terrible friend, okay? So don't put it out here that I was some fucking terrible friend. I was not a terrible friend, but when somebody's gone, you realize like how you think like, would you have changed any way you interacted with them? And I would not have, right? I would not have. But Jeff was up to the end inviting me to streams. Like my last communication with him, let me just pull it up right here. Was probably, was it on X or was it elsewhere? Let me see. It's not too far. I don't actually have to scroll that far back. Here it is. December 3rd. He was like trying to get me on to talk about to talk about the martial law. Also, I made a little joke with him and he sent me a monkey meme, which is kind of really funny. Also, I like another quote he dropped here. He's like, nothing good happens before 9 p.m. anyways, which is so fucking true. All right. I won't expose our DMs. Our DMs stay secret forever. Our DMs are never doxed. Thank you. SC Acevedo says, Godspeed, Jeff. Greatness left us too soon. Yeah. JP said, my best friend died back in 20 from COVID. He was just like you described Jeff. Godspeed, Space Cowboy. Yeah. Yeah. And you know, I wish all like the best for him and his family. And just, you know, I hope they know, even if they don't watch the stream, I hope they just realize how beloved he was. And just by the numbers, just looking at his channel, like how beloved he was, how awesome he was as a person, and how he impacted people. He's the case in point for living your life your own way. You know, Jeff like reinvented himself so many times. He was a Mormon missionary, right? And, you know, he reinvented himself as a lawyer. He was married and he reinvented himself as a single guy, right? After being wiped out in a divorce and, you know, just starting over again from fucking scratch. But this man was happy as shit. He lived his life the way he wanted to live it. He was the one who did what he wanted to do. If he didn't want to do something, Jeff didn't do it. And if Jeff wanted to do it, he fucking did it. Guys, one night we were out in Itaewon. Me, him, and I think Scott and my girlfriend at the time. And we were like, Jeff was like, oh yeah, I'm going to go sleep in a bush after this. And we were like, dude, don't fucking sleep in a bush. And he's like, yeah, but my train leaves at like 8 and you guys are going to leave at like 5 or 6 when the first train, the metros in Seoul, they start at like 5 in the morning. So we're going to leave at 5. And so he's like, yeah, I'm going to sleep in a bush for like 2 hours. And we're like, Jeff, don't sleep in a fucking bush, man. Like, we'll pay for your hotel. Like, go to a hotel. I even told him, like, come over to my apartment. Like, I'll put you on my couch. But I lived in Gangnam and you know, Gangnam is kind of far from Seoul Station, if you guys know Seoul at all. So he didn't want to come all the way out. And my fucking girlfriend was begging him not to do that. She was so terrified. And it was like, it was funny because Jeff was like, no, I'm doing it my way. 3 people were like, don't do it. Scott too, who's like the prudent military guy. He's like, yeah, don't do that, bro. That's stupid. But he did it. He fucking did it. It's Jeff. He did it. He slept in a goddamn bush. Right? It's fucking crazy. And I respect that about him. You know, that he's like, no, I'm just going to do it. No, I'm just going to do this. It's my life. I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. I'm going to control what I want to control. You know? Like, fuck it. It's awesome. Let's go, Brandon, for $9.99. Said, why were you so mean to Jeff? I understand why he used to hate me in the mornings, but you too, Andrew son. Going to be a tough hole to plug. Wishing his family and you all the best. Hang in there. Thanks, man. Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it. Thank you. And I wish him the best. And like I said, I knew more of his friends. I didn't know his family. I never knew his son. I never met his son. But I hope to just tell his friends, at least the ones in Busan that I know, that, hey, like, Jeff is appreciated. He was loved. He's a fucking great guy. And I hope you guys realize that too, you know? Gear says, very sorry for your loss, but what do you think about English voice actors like AJ Beckles attempting to sabotage Hoyoverse and Day in the middle of an English voice acting strike? Cheers. I think there's a lot of people trying to fuck with Korea and Japan, and I think it's silly. I think they should fuck off, and Jeff would agree with that too. Muzzy said, thank you for introducing him to us. I enjoyed his maritime insight, law knowledge, and his humor. All around awesome, man. My condolences to his Bologna Bong said, the mantle has passed, which means you must do Maritime Mondays and smoke a calabash. Holy fuck. If I did a goddamn Maritime Monday, oh my God. I'm not an Admiralty lawyer. I would if I was an Admiralty lawyer, but I'm not an Admiralty lawyer. And I don't want to take that from Jeff, you know, but perhaps like, if there's a big maritime incident, I'll do it like in his honor, you know, and I'll like find a way to get a hat. Actually, I got a hat. I have a hat in honor of Jeff. Thanks. Jinver for 10 says, thank you for the stream. Many of us needed to gather and hear from his great friend. Thank you. You know, and I'm not his best. Look, I wasn't his best friend. You know, I know that. This is more like my influence, how Jeff influenced me. It wasn't, I know I wasn't his best friend. I mean, his best friend owned the cigar bar. He's the guy who passed away. I was a friend, right? And that's fine. I'm not trying to be his best. It's not a competition. It doesn't, to me, Jeff lived his life the way it should have been left, and he treated me in a way of like a real friend. And what matters is not best, worst rankings and stuff like that. What matters is that I was a real friend, and he was a real friend. Whether you have 100 real friends or you have one. And to be honest, of my friends in Korea, at least for the first 3 years, she was my only real friend until I met Scott, you know, and then Scott went to fucking Turkey, right? He was like a real friend, like a real fucking genuine friend, a genuine G. And you don't meet those very often. And like I said, you should cherish those. And one thing I want to say is like, if there's a lesson from this, is that like cherish your real friends, like truly cherish them, appreciate them, tell them you love them, tell them they're amazing, because they fucking are. Alabama Rose, welcome as a member. Appreciate you. Baby Mine, welcome as a member. Tankrat says, I'm going to miss the Law Racks. RIP, brother. Whiskey. Yeah, cheers. Cheers to you, Tankrat. Thank you for supporting me and for supporting the Law Racks over the years. I know you have, so cheers. Purple Blaze says, do you and Jeff have two different accents when speaking Korean, or do you two sound similar? No, I can barely speak Korean. I'm going to be honest with you. I need to get better at Korean. Jeff was fucking amazing at Korean. The goddamn fucking Mormon savant. He had fluent Korean. My girlfriend at the time when I was in Korea, who was fluent in Korean, she was Korean, and she said his accent is perfect. He's fucking perfect. His accent was perfect. It was not a Busan accent. It was a perfect like natural soul accent, right? So like the regular accent, right? But he could put the emphasis on it to make it sound a little bit more Busan, right? But he was flawless. So, but the thing is, he never went out of his way to speak Korean, like to like show off. Like he would actually speak in English most of the time, and he would only resort to speaking Korean when he was forced to. Like when my ass forced him to do it with the police officers who tried to stop us when we were placing flowers in front of the when we were placing flowers in Itaewon for the Johnny Somali event. Everybody is following me for Johnny Somali, guys. All of you guys here. When they were trying to like say something to us, Jeff went over and spoke to them in Korean. So once again, that's the power of Jeff. The power of Jeff. I'm trying to see if I have the photos on this phone or if it's on another phone. I've got so many fucking photos. It's stupid. But maybe on another, and maybe on my my Korean phone. But that said, Jeff was the one who would always, you know, speak when we needed to speak, right? He'd be the designated translator, and I was just like, guys, my Korean is bad. I'm practicing right now because my goal is to live up there part of the year, and that's what I want to do, right? So not the whole year, just like a bit. Right. So when it's nice, like the spring, fall. Now I'm going to be there for parts of the winter because number one, I got to change my visa up there. And number two, I want to be there for the Johnny Somali trial, which is in March. Right. And shout out to everybody who's the Vice Squad is here tonight. Appreciate all you for joining. Appreciate all you for being here. Appreciate all you for remembering him. And, you know, and thank you for listening to these fucking rambling, incoherent, you know, whiskeyed up stories. I appreciate it. I'm gonna pour a little more here because I think I'm getting a little. I can't let the Law Racks do shame to me. You know, he would always drink more than me, but he was good about making me not feel like I was a bitch, right? we'd go out and drink together, and you know, we always start with the same drink. We keep pace, and then I'd fall behind, and then he'd just kind of keep going in a quiet way without kind of taunting me too much about it. He may be a little bit, but not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. Alana said, thank you for sharing your stories about Jeff. Yeah, no more problem. Edward said, thoughts and prayers, Andrew. Warmest regards. Thank you. Mexican Iron Man said, Jeff, such a great intellect and a charming sense of humor and warm, genuine soul. R.I.P. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that, brother. Thank you. I wish you would have met him, man. I wish you would have met him. You guys would have got along very well. Sinsatar Luchai said, I'm sorry for your loss. Thank you for the Nungroy bot. Thank you. Irish Like a Drunk says, Rip Jeff, what an amazing person. I'm in shock. Yeah. And once again, guys, we're almost there. We only have, and I know there's 2,000 people here right now, so that's about halfway there. We have 96.5. That's only 3.5 left. And like I said, my audience is massive. And there's very little crossover with Jeff nowadays. So I know we have the best chance of making this happen. My community has the best chance of making this happen because I have a large amount of subs that are not subscribed to him. Now, he did some great coverage of stuff, and his last one was on Sarah Boone, which is one that we covered. But this is to get a plaque for his son and a YouTube plaque for his son, and at least to know that he always wanted this in life. So let's get him this. Let's get him this. Let's do this last thing for Jeff and get him this 100K, you know? And how fucking awesome is that if I brought him into YouTube and my community is the one that gets him to 100K? That's fucking awesome, guys. That's fucking awesome. It went 4K up the stream. Yeah, I know. So let's keep it going, baby. We can do it. We can get up to 100K. I know we can do it. Andrew C said, it was you that introduced me to Jeff, and he was the yin to your yang, and you two were my GOAT YouTube lawyers. If there's anything you or your family needs here in Utah, please let me know. Thank you, Andrew C. Appreciate that. And, you know, Jeff really was a yin and a yang for me. You know, he was like the chill side, you know. I was like the fire and he was like the ice. Like he knew a way to be cool about it and to handle things in a fucking cool way. And there's people that Jeff is cool with that I am not cool with. And I respected that about him because I don't have the capacity in me to be cool with people after they do X, Y, Z or say X, Y, Z. But Jeff could do that. And that was his power. That was his strength. You know? So thank you for that. Rare in History said Jeff made us all feel like friends even though we disagreed on some things. He was a welcoming, warm guy. Yeah, and you know, I disagree with Jeff on some things, and that's fine too. That's totally fine. I mean, no, I'm not going to make, okay, never mind. I was about to make a comment about something we disagreed about, but I'm like, that's okay. That I can't, I'm going to save that one. I'm going to save that one. Jill M says, new here, Jeff would have got 100K on his own. Now we are pushing it to happen now. Yeah, exactly. He would have gotten it on his own. This isn't us giving it to Jeff. This is us doing what he would have done on his own, you know, without us. Nikki Chun says, glad you met Jeff. I always dream of meeting him in Korea, but now I'll cherish him in my heart. Rip Jeff, we love you so much. You know, one thing you could do for him is to like visit his favorite places. There's a place that he told me not to say, so I'm not going to say it. But there's especially like Casa Habano. If you're ever there and you ever want to go to Casa Habano, which is his favorite, once again, his favorite cigar bar, please tell them that you're coming for Jeff Harrison and that like you came like because you knew him or supported him. This is a place that I can like openly promote and like he's cool with it and he would be fine with it. This is like a really, really, really his favorite spot. And once again, this was his best friend's favorite place. So what better way for me to support him than to support a place that was loved by his best friend, right? So I want to give back to that, you know? Because that's a little slice of him. It's got the number there. You got the address. You guys can find it. Casa Mano in Busan. And of course, like I said, I'll be heading down there this weekend to kind of say hi. Jonathan Irwin said, "Who's going to have a great live starts now? Mens rea, mens rea." As Jeff would say, get in here. Schmear Lives for 6 says, I just ordered his pint glass and whiskey number. Cheers. Rene says, butt pirates praising his death on Johnny's Discord. I don't care. Once again, fuck him, right? The thing is, people who are haters, they will never be half the man that Jeff is, and they will never have anybody to think about them or to praise them or to, support them. People who are haters, pay them no mind, and Jeff didn't give a fuck about them either. That's the great thing about Jeff. That's what I love about Jeff, is that Jeff didn't give a goddamn about him either. If people wanted to hate him, he didn't care. And I don't care either, which is something we have in common. And I kind of learned that from him. Right? Haters going to hate, but who cares? No, and someone said, who could possibly hate? Cavalier, there's always somebody on the internet that will hate on you. But the thing is, you just got to ignore them and keep on doing what you're doing. And he was doing the right things. Sparky Sexcorn says, raise your glasses and ring the bell. You were loved by many and will be missed by all legal vices. Cheers, Sparky. I got a 9 a.m. flight tomorrow with Seoul I can't miss, but I think I'm getting a little tipsy tonight. Big Daddy Land said, get Jeff to 100K. Thank you, Big Daddy Land. Pergelsi said, breaks my heart to hear Jeff's passing. Prayers and peace for you and all who knows and loved him. Thank you. Spurious Funeral says, sorry for your loss. Seemed like a genuinely good dude. He was genuinely the best of dudes. And the best bro. One of my best bros. Grifty says, all BS aside, sorry for your loss. He was a real one. Thank you. Tommy Elkins, a nice glass. I'm sorry for you. Thank you. BP for 1,000 yen says, I've been listening along as I work over here and really enjoying the stories. Andrew, wish you could have hung out in March and met him in person. Condolences for losing someone so special, man. BP, so BP is a guy I met. He's over there in Japan. And, like I said, there's very few cool expats. And at the risk of stroking BP's ego, because he is an egotistical bastard, he's a cool expat. Josh is a cool expat. Jeff is a cool expat. And if there's one thing I've always wanted to do is to link up fellow cool expats and introduce them to each other. So we were going to have Jeff. Jeff was going to come to Osaka in March. I'm still coming to Osaka in March. I had the plans set already. Unless, not on the Johnny Somali trial week, but after that, I'll still be there. And I will still be there, raised in glass with Josh and hopefully with BP if he can join to Jeff, because there's so much I want to show Jeff. Jeff never made it down here to Thailand, so he never got to see it. I wanted to bring him down here and show him why it's awesome. Bring him to some of my favorite bars, some places he would love. I wanted to do that with him. Never got the chance. Andrew for $99.99 says, thank you. Chris. Sorry. Thank you. Says, Andrew, sorry for your loss. It says, Chris. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you for that. I appreciate you supporting me. I appreciate your big support. It means a lot, especially right now. I can cover serious topics like Somali. I can cover topics like VTubing and Disney, etc. All those crazy topics. But I'm a real dude, and this is really me. And appreciate you guys being open to me being a little bit vulnerable here. And I don't mean that in a weird way or whatever. It's just this is like a rare moment where I genuinely. I genuinely appreciate this guy in a way in which I know I'm going to end this stream, and I know there's going to be one more thing I wish I told you about Jeff. There's going to be another story that I wish I told, or something that I wish I said. It's not going to be perfect, and that's why I kind of wanted to stream anyways, because I said, you know what, I'm going to fucking scuff it. So I might as well scuff it like a stream, right? Because there's always something that you didn't tell. There's always like a story you didn't tell, or something that you might have told in a different circumstance. And, Jeff would be like, you bastard, you didn't tell me this, you son of a bitch. Like, I could hear his voice telling me, like, you bastard, saying I hated you. Like, but he genuinely was interested. He genuinely, and he came at it in a nice way, right? But he was genuinely interested, right? And he knew so much about Korea. And as a person, like, you got to understand, guys, it's like a fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? You don't get that many mentors in life. And, you know, I'm not trying to make Jeff into more than he was, right? Or less than he was. But like, he really gave me a window into Korea before YouTube that you don't get. Like, how many motherfuckers are out there that are cool, that aren't full of themselves, that aren't fucking incredible narcissists, that aren't absolute D-bags, that can tell you, like, this is the way it is, this is how it goes, this is how it is living here, this is the life. Jeff did that for me. And I am eternally grateful. You know, and I don't know if I told you guys this, but I'm planning on spending more time in Korea. And that is 100% happening. Like, it's not if, then, or but, right? Korea is a place that I'm going to spend a lot of time on. And I was debating whether I was going to live in Seoul or Busan. Because Seoul, obviously, it's a bigger city. It has a lot more going on. A lot of the YouTube stuff is there. Business stuff is there. Like, you know, it's like just Seoul. And I know Seoul very well. I lived there the majority of the time I was in Korea. But I did think about living in Busan, and it was really just to fucking be around my bro Jeff. And that was really the biggest thing. I mean, you know, no offense to Busan, but it has less to do than Seoul, right? So, you know, I was highly debating that. And, you know, I was like, all right, well, I can visit, I can, you know, go over there. But, you know, it's now going to have a different feeling for me going to these places and being there without Jeff, you know. And, you know, going there and wishing he was there with me, wishing he was getting the fucking giant ass fucking steak with me at his favorite restaurant, or smoking of his fucking favorite Cuban, or going to the Australian brunch place, right? Or we would go to the bars where the foreigner English teachers went and just fucking laugh our asses off. It was just a great time. It was a great time. You know, that was Jeff. My condolences, says Eagle Clipping. Jeff was a good man, yeah. Tad sent me for 20 says, your words about real friends really hit me hard for a period of time. I generally felt I was replaceable in my friends groups. Yeah. The greatest word of advice I learned is to strive to provide something no one else can. Yeah. And Jeff did that for me, like, for sure, 100%. Like, there's no replacement Jeff. There's no person who comes into my life and, like, is a Jeff, you know? Like, oh, yeah, this is Jeff now. Like, there's a gap in my friends, and there's a huge gap in my life, and that's Jeff, you know? Pure Jealousy for 199 says, tell Jeff stories whenever you want. You're a good channel. Yeah, no, I know, but, you know, obviously this is titled about Jeff, so I just want to make sure I get out the best ones, you know? Listen to his Halloween stream. I don't know if I saw his Halloween stream. I don't know if we have, I don't know if I want to, like, go through it all. Cause I mean, like, once again, tonight, it's hard enough for me to get through this. So I think I can only survive so long, but, you know, maybe when I'm like by myself, I'll listen to that and I'll enjoy it. Thank you. Bughead Earl says, we know you pushed him to do the tubes. His channel name fits him perfectly. Was there any story behind him choose the name? Well, I mean, I told him he can't choose Legal Mindset too. But I said, you know what? He's like, well, I'm going to choose Legal Vices. I'm like, you motherfucker, you're copying me. I'm joking. I'm like, no, it's actually, I'm like, imitation is the most sincere form of flattery, you know? And I liked it. I loved it. I loved it. Legal Vices, you know? You know, yeah, no, vices, because he indulged in them and he embraced them, and he embraced, like, living your life in a way that, you know, that's how you want to live it. It reminded me of my dad, my granddad, right, who also died of heart disease, right, in a very similar, or like heart attacks in a similar way, right, like cardiac arrest in a similar way. Like, they lived the way they want to live, right? My granddad, for example. You know, doctors told him, hey, you know, he's a guy who was a chef, and he's like cooking and eating like French food with butter and making, you know, all sorts of, you know, drinking wine, stuff like that. And he's like older, you know, even when he's in his 90s. And, you know, the doctor's like, well, you could stop doing all that, and you'll probably have another like 6 months, or you can keep doing that, and, you know, who knows when it's going to happen. And of course he's like, you know, I'm going to live my life my way. And, you know, he ended up living, after the doctor told him that, he ended up living another 2 years. You know, to me, it's about enjoying your life, living it your way, living it on your style, you know, like, and being the man or woman that you want to be, you know, and living a life that you can be proud of. And Jeff, without a doubt, lived a life of happiness. He lived a life that he was proud of, and he was his own fucking man. Jeff was his own man. He did his own thing. And that's fucking admirable. He really lived his life. How many people really live their lives? Or fucking how many people sleepwalk through their life not doing what they really want to do? And Jeff, particularly the last couple of years, he lived his life the way he wanted to do it. He did what he wanted to do. He did whatever he wanted to do. And I never tried to stop him. I never tried to tell him, don't do the griftathons, don't do drinking, don't do this. No, do it. I don't want to do it, but you can do it. And I'm never going to tell you it's wrong. You know? Let's see here. Ryobi said, question, how did Jeff take it? Oh, when he went to the weird rabbit hole on his VTubers, back to Niji and Doki and collabing with two horse VTubers? He thinks it's weird. I'm going to be honest with you. Jeff thought VTubers were weird as fuck. However, he saw the viewers and he was like, well, I guess a lot of people are into it. So good job. Jeff thought VTubers, he looked at VTubers and he was like,
disgusting.
But he understood why I did it. Because once again, it's not my thing. And to me, like, if you asked me, I mean, to be honest, let's be honest. I mean, VTubers are a bunch of
Degenerates. You guys degenerates.
We all know this is true. We all know this is factually true. This is not even a question about it. VTubers are degenerate. However, I love you degenerates. You're my degenerates. So Jeff was entirely right about that, though. But no, he understood. And once again, you have to build your audience and your niche. And Jeff's niche was not VTubers. That's mine, right? His niche was people who love trials. Look at his content. Let's look at what he's covering. Let's look at how well he covered this shit. Let's look at how much better he did than I did, right? Let's look at this real quick. So Jeff's over here, right? Here's the channel, right? By the way, look at, he improved his channel so much. He has he has a custom loading stream. I don't even have this shit, okay? Right? He had a fucking dog camera. I don't have that shit. He was covering Sarah Boone all over the place, right? He covered martial law. These are his videos. I think these are his like clipped videos, but let's go to his lives because he's more of a prolific live streamer. But look at this. He was covering Owens versus Eckerd. So you got a case right there, right? He's covering MA versus Woodward. He's doing a retro right there. He's hanging out with Ozzy, one of his great friends, doing Legos, right? He's out here just doing chill streams, right? Just trucking around with Flux, his mod, and he fucking loved his mods. He's just covering trials in such an in-depth way. Look at this, all trial coverage. I don't have the patience for this shit, but Jeff did. And I respect him for that. I respect him a lot. And look at him with this shady motherfucker over here in the sunglasses. This shady motherfucker in the sunglasses. Super shady. Super shady. That was when I was there 1 month ago. So, if I saw Jeff, obviously everyone would say something to them. But like, if you knew this was the last time that you were going to see them, you would say something, right? Everybody would say something, right? But one of the awesome things about Jeff is I knew he was living the life the way he wanted to. So I feel like I don't need to say anything to them. I feel like I don't need to say, like, you were an inspiration to me. You were absolutely a true friend. You were a fucking bro. And if I could have done anything for you, if I could have done a single thing to help you out, to give you more time on this earth, I would have done it. I would have fucking done it. No questions asked. You want me to yeet a young Somali into a boat and ship him off to North Korea? I could do that. I'm joking. He was no fan of Johnny Somali, by the way. No one is. But yeah, no, I would have done a lot for Jeff. RIP to your soulmate, legal mindset funds for the funeral. No, not for the funeral. I mean, like I said, the thing I want to do is I want to go down there and get some cigars and, get some whiskey at his favorite place and really support the place that he supported his entire life. And thank you, everybody. Holy fucking shit. Real quick. Thank you for everybody who came over here to my locals. It's already 70%. Came over to my Ko-Fi. Thank you guys who came over here to support that. Thank you so much. The Cigar and Whiskey Fund in memory of Jeff. Thank you for supporting that. Zero Max, Andy, Chris, TB, Mon, Lone Star Living, Nova Zero, Tatsumi, somebody, J.A., John Byrne. Thank you so much for supporting that over there on Ko-Fi. Thank you so much. That gets to me quicker than YouTube, so that's why I set that up real quick. That'll be here Friday, so I'll make sure to use that Friday. Chaos Smash says, can we do a Frank Sinatra's My Way as a send-off? I'm gonna get copyright struck, but fuck it, I'm not even monetized on this, so fine. Sure. Fuck it. I'll just clip it out later. Okay. So, yeah, sure. I got you, bro. Ursula Flats, for flowers and drink with Jeff. Drink for Jeff, yeah. It was with Jeff, really, because, I know that he's there, like, in spirit. He's 100% there. Put your own dog camera, but it's Chinese. Crazy. Snacks for 4.99. So shout out to Jeff's Mods and Vice Squad. Shout out to all of them guys. And in mods, I just want to say this, because I imagine okay, my mods are here, professional gentleman. He may have gone to sleep, but I love him. Don Baca, JP Ravenfire, appreciate you, and Danielle, the fucking OG who puts in all the work. I love my mods. They're fucking amazing, and I know Jeff loved his mods too. And I just want you guys to know that Jeff appreciated you. He really, really appreciated what you did for him. He felt like you were his friends as well. And, that's something that not every content creator feels like. But Jeff genuinely felt that way about you. And to all those in this community, Jeff knew you. Jeff knew you by name. Jeff knew you better than I know my own community. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I don't love you like Jeff loved his people. I aspire to love my community like Jeff does, but I'm like an abusive stepdad or something. But that said, Jeff genuinely loved his community. He knew everybody by name, especially the people that were there time and time again. He knew you guys. And he saw you. He really saw you. He felt you. He knew your personalities. He knew who you were better than I did. Better than I do my own community, right? So shout out. Irish I Get Drunk says, I believe you passed twice. Once initially and second, the last time your name is spoken. We will forever speak his name. I'm sorry for his loss. Yeah, this is a stream for Jeff, but it's not the last time I'm going to say his name or the last time that he's going to come up. I just wanted to have something to show that, I'm certainly not forgetting about him. And certainly, this mattered a lot to me. And I'm so fucking thankful that he was loved by so many of you guys and also by the other content creators. Nobody has anything bad to say about him. I'll say this. Half of the content creators that are praising him would slit my fucking throat in 2 seconds, right? And some of the content creators that love him, I've blocked, right? But that's Jeff, right? Jeff can get along with everybody. That's a special ability of his, right? That's why he's amazing. That's why he's special. And that's why he's beloved, right? But that's why Jeff was amazing, right? Gator Time says, first time meeting both of you was Anime Matsuri at the hotel bar. Spent way more time on one on drinks, but it's a memory I will cherish. At work, so I can't drink, but I'll have one tonight in his honor. Thanks, Gator. Appreciate that, brother. Day said, Jeff seemed like an archetypal American gentleman abroad. Remind me how they broke the fucking mold. So, Erday, they don't make expats like they make them anymore. The type of expats you get right now are often whiny little soy boy bitches. And I say that in the most, or just people that are so entitled. They don't cut people from the same cloth as Jeff. Jeff may have seemed nice and happy, but he was as tough as a coffin nail. Jeff was a resilient guy. You do not survive 35 years in Korea without being tough as shit, without having to deal with discrimination. And yes, I know that people are going to say, oh, you don't get discriminated. Yes, you do. You haven't lived in Korea unless you face some sort of situation where you being a foreigner, and it doesn't matter whether you're white, black, brown, whatever, it doesn't matter. Whether you being a foreigner, not being able to do something because you're a foreigner and you're blocked out because you're a foreigner happens. Or because, for example, you're doing something and Koreans will get involved and mess with you because you're a foreigner, right? Even if you speak fluent Korean, even if you read, write, and speak fluent Korean, it doesn't matter, right? They're going to get involved, right? You have to be tough to survive that. Jeff was tough. He's not soft. Jeff was not soft at all, period. Don't make that mistake, right? Kindness and softness are not to be mistaken. And that's one thing people mess up about Asia too. People think that people in Asia are soft because they're kind or because they're thoughtful. It's not at all softness. It's tolerance, right? And the tolerance only goes so far. Right. Kyle Mahoney says, thank you, Andrew. Jeff will be missed but not forgotten. Absolutely. Burberry's for Aussie 5 says, thank you for the stream being real. There's a lot of drifters floating around lost and looking for somewhere to go without Jeff on YouTube. Yeah. And, guys, okay, this is fucked up. Okay, I'm going to take a little drink here. Cheers. To Jeff's audience, I'm not trying to pick you up, and I'm not trying to like recruit you. You're Jeff's audience. And you will always be Jeff's audience. And to me, I will love and appreciate you for being Jeff's audience, but I'm not trying to change who I am to be different, to please anybody else's audience, because that's what Jeff would want me to do. That's how Jeff lived his life. Jeff didn't change who he was for other people. He was who he was. I'm not going to change who I am for you guys, but I will promise to continue being me and being real, which is exactly the same type of person that Jeff was. Is a real fucking genuine article. And you don't make people like that. People are always pretending to be some way or another. They're pretending to be, whether you're pretending to be super woke or whether you're pretending to be super based or whatever, you're pretending to be, some sort of thing. You're pretending to be cool or whatever, so smart or perfect or whatever it is, right? People are all this way nowadays, oftentimes. Jeff was not pretending to be anything. The guy wore a motherfucking hat around like a gangster. And it wasn't because he was cool. He's like, I just want to wear the fucking hat. I like it. It's cool. Right? People don't like it. Who cares? People think he looks stupid. Who cares? He did not care. He genuinely didn't care. Want to wear a Hawaiian shirt? He wore a Hawaiian shirt. It's just what he wanted to do. Steve Gani says, God bless for all morning. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. And I know he loved you. You're a great friend to him. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate that. Means a lot from you. That's a shame for Fortnite. Said every once in a while someone passes who's full of life. It's hard to grasp for death. Jeff's one of those people. Sorry for your loss. Thank you. Sorry. Thanks. He's a guy that I imagine spending decades with, and what really fucks me up is, so what I do this exercise where I don't talk about this a lot. It's personal to me, but I do this exercise where I close my eyes and I try to imagine my ideal life. Right. And I try to imagine 5 years down, realistically, 5 or 10 years down the road, how I'd want to be. That's one thing I try to do. And it helps me keep me inspired and pushing to the future, because you need to have a vision of the future in order to be inspired to push for that, to push hard for that. Right. And when I think of the future, I thought of a future where I would have friends like Jeff, and I wanted to have 5 more Jeffs, and people like that in my future. But I imagined him as part of that, right? Is to make more deep friendships, real motherfuckers, that I knew here abroad, right? And to build a network like he had, right? That's what I imagine 5 or 10 years from now, is to get down that road. Not all the way where he was, but to go down that road, Don Mugga said, thank you for sharing your dear friend with us. I will slowly collect my own those fucking hats, pipes, and cigars, dude. Cheers. Hey, cheers, 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 cheers. Collect as many of your own fucking hats as you want to. You know? Patrick W says, "Do you hear the whispered win? Only 4.4K subs until I turned the Poly Gates came on." Jeff would do that. If Jeff could, Jeff would be up in fucking heaven, being like, I will make a stream if you fucking subscribe here to this channel. And we're close, guys. We only got like 3,000 more at this point. Look at this. Right? 96.8, about 3.2. So just keep liking it. And we're going to get there. Keep subscribing. Thank you. Japanese Demon Lord of Bar Lucifer said, "Sorry for your loss. May there be waifus in your time of sadness." Yeah, once again, look, I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to like sympathy bait here. What I want to share with you is like the story of a guy who like he went out here and he fucking got it and he made it and he did it on his own. Like Jeff did it on his own. Like the watches he bought, his money. His cigars, whiskey, wine, all that stuff, his stuff. His show concept, his stuff. I got him started, but I don't take a credit for his success. His 96.8K subs are from him, not from me, right? I gave him maybe, a couple thousand in the beginning, but it wasn't giving. Those people followed him because they wanted to follow him genuinely, and they stuck with him. The people that followed Jeff stuck with him, right? Fire PS says, "I miss those great discussions that used to take place when LawTube was intact. I regret not watching more Jeff's content." Smooth sailing, Jeff. Yeah. Kim May for 5 says, "Just wish Jeff was around to see the reaction when his family, especially his son, found out about his YouTube fame. I'm sure he's laughing up there." Oh, yeah. He was trying to get as far as he could without telling anybody, without ever telling his kid. Thunder Kid said, "You brought Jeff to us. Thank you for that." Yeah, my pleasure. I'm glad he was able to share his laugh, his insight, his history. I mean, he's done so much and he fucking downplays it, I guess he's past now, so we can look up his like we can I guess we can like look up his law firm. Oh wait, no, hold on. Can I unblock for 15 minutes? Let's do this. Okay. Are they doing that? Are they? I hope they don't. Did they mess with this? Okay, I wanted to show you. Okay, we'll just show you this. Because it won't let me show you the firm website. But I want to show you, like, can I pull this up? Oh, yeah. We got to pull this up. We got to do it, guys. We got to do it. Okay. Yes. Okay. I'll just do it like this because Korea, I think, is like blocking my sketchy Thai IP right now. But can you guys see the pictures of Jeff? Right. So this is him from Busan Pacific Law Office. That's his office, right? See him right there, right? And then over here, his bald ass over here, in his fucking LinkedIn profile. This is when he had hair, right over here, right? Young Jeff with hair, and then we've got this Jeff, which is Epic Jeff, which is before he had hats. Before you had hats, and when he just had the shine, right? Look at that fucking shining right there. I'm not gonna. To be honest with you guys, yes, this is the same guy. So let me just tell you one thing: if you're gonna go bald, just fucking do it, Jeff, and like just go all out. Just go all out. People say no stash. Jeff is the best. I like his current look. I think he looks good. Even with just like fully shaven Jeff with a pink tie. Dude, he's got a pink tie here. Come on, that pinky right there. Oh yeah. Naked face Jeff is so odd. No, you gotta learn to love it. Learn to love all shades of Jeff. But, I wish I knew Jeff 30 years ago, You know, I wish I got to know him then. Of course, I don't think we would have been friends. I think like his former, like I think his ex-wife may have not liked me. I may have been too based, but that said, I wish I knew him back in the day. I really do. I genuinely do. And I'm so happy that I got to spend even the slightest amount of time around him and with him, right? That to me was is all that matters. And so thank you guys for hearing about him. Thank you guys for listening. You know, there's no way I could tell all the stories about Jeff, you know, all the nights we had together, all the times we were out, whether we were drinking, which was a lot, or whether we were, you know, having fucking delicious food or just telling crazy stories. And there were so many because he was in Korea for so long and had so much to share from a time in which Hooker Hill actually had hookers. It doesn't actually have hookers anymore, right? To an era in which he survived the cell phone coming in, things getting digitized, the internet. You know, he's done so much, going back to the U.S. and then coming back to Korea. Fucking great guy, amazing stories, solid dude. 100% too young. And Hatzak Calvin says, Good Scott, Mr. Mindset, how are you? Well, obviously not too well. How was your day? Well, my day was actually good in spite of this, but yes. Mike and Nolan says, hope you're doing all right. Thank you. It's fucking me up a little bit. But you know, I'm just trying to enjoy my life and enjoy it kind of my way, you know, like Jeff would want me to, and kind of once again fill that role, and feel like I step into that mantle that kind of Jeff left behind in the expat community, you know, as a whole, but also in Korea, you know, and maybe not in Busan. Like once again, I'll never be Jeff, but I aspire to be a person like Jeff, you know. That's what I'm trying to say. Like I aspire as an expat to be like Jeff. That's why he's my friend. Aside from Legal Vices, like it's just my friend Jeff. Like, and even if I never introduced him to YouTube, which I'm glad I did, he would still be my friend Jeff that I very dearly miss. And you know, it's like bittersweet to have 2,000 people that are with me here, like feeling the same way. Can you play Into the West by Annie Lennox send off? I've got one already that's queued up, so let me see. So why don't I play like a minute of one and a minute of the other or something like that? You know, I think we can compromise. I'm a compromising man. I'm gonna get copyright struck, but I don't care. I'll do it for Jeff. So we'll do like a minute of one, a minute of another. I can do that. 2-1 case. I didn't know Jeff, but may Jeff rest in paradise. I'm 105% sure he would have been proud to have a friend like yourself. Cheers, a shout out for Jeff. Well, I've got a little bit of whiskey left in my jar, so my jarro. So let me do this one here, and I guess this will be the send off. But cheers. This is for Jeff. This is for my friend. This is for a guy who was beloved by hundreds of thousands of people. A guy who touched many lives. And a guy who changed my life and changed it in a beautiful and in a positive way. And may there be more people out there like Jeff who bring happiness, who bring laughter, who bring wisdom, who bring positivity into others' lives. Because negativity is a poison which we are all drowning in nowadays. And if we can only live our lives a little more like Jeff, a little more in the spirit of happiness, in the spirit of laughter, in the spirit of friendship, I think we would all be better people. And cheers. Whew. Oh, I need some water on that one. Ooh. That was a heavy pour. Ooh, a heavy pour. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Spicy. Ooh. Jeff drinks a lot better than I do. All right. Well, Marla Hughes is a new member. Welcome. And Just Me for $19.99 said, first of all, Jeff, with you, and his successes came from Jeff being comfortable with his own skin. Yes. From shows on shipwrecks to ghost stories, he was a class act, and I'm glad his memorial will live on the net. Prayers to you. Yes. And I'm glad people will remember him for what he was and what he is. And, you know, to my grave, he'll always be my friend. So I want to say thank you for that. Appreciate that, guys. Like I said, there's probably more I didn't mention. Sorry if I didn't. I'm sure I'll catch it another time. But I guess as I send it off here, and I'll play the songs here as we go out. I'll put myself off screen though, because I'll probably get sentimental. But you know, like Jeff would say, enjoy your legal vices. And I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Let's do that. Right. You're here because I promised both, and I'm an equal opportunist. Thank you guys. Appreciate that, everybody.